Now, can people be trusted to type themselves? I feel like I'm going to say something controversial here, but I will answer no. No, not unless they've done a very deep amount of self-work. And sometimes even that doesn't suffice. Okay? Now let me explain my reasoning. There are people who will tell you you cannot really be trusted to type yourself unless you take an objective personality test, because your subjective desires will always interfere with the result. Okay, and so people end up consulting with these objective personality people, whatever objective personality you're talking about. Now, by this time, I've probably released my rant on objective systems, so I'm not going to return to that. There's another reason why people can't necessarily automatically at all be trusted to type themselves correctly. And it is that, you know how it is with me. I'm a training psychoanalyst, so I believe that the unconscious has a great part to play in the kind of person we are, and therefore the type that we are as a person. The unconscious is not something that is easily accessible to anyone in particular. Okay? In fact, that's also, there's a reason for that, is that the unconscious is there to protect us from those thoughts that we consider to be unbearable. Like the reason why the shadow is not integrated in the first place is a way for our psyche to protect us. And when we do integrate it, is a sign that we are ready to confront it. All right? So the unconscious hides things from us. That's what it does. Okay, and you need to be able to interpret it. But to be able to interpret your own unconscious is a bit like being able to interpret your own dreams. It's not something that everyone can do easily. Often they need help from a therapist, for example, or an analyst when it comes to interpreting their own dreams. Because in our interpretation of our dreams, if we try to do it ourselves, we will unconsciously censor part of the dream that, without realizing, we consider unacceptable, and we're just letting ourselves forget or deny it. And we don't realize we're doing this because this is not conscious. There's a very strong analogy with, the things we do with type, because type is also informed by our unconscious mechanisms, our processes, our fantasies. To this extent, there are things about ourselves that we're not going to show the world, and we're not even going to show ourselves. So when we try to, self-type, determine our own type by ourselves, we're going to be confronting those issues. Of course, there are people who are sufficiently attuned to their unconscious that they will be able to do that. There are people who are sufficiently insightful and who maybe have trained themselves to be in a more honest conversation with their unconscious, and so they will be able to do that. The larger category of people who can type themselves is that category of people who say that they have done a lot of qualitative reading on the various functions, on the various types, on typology in general. Perhaps they've read Jung or other books. Perhaps those who think that they might be anti-dominants have read my books. They have done the qualitative work. Now, often what people say is, well, reading qualitative work on types, personalities, and the functions is better than taking tests, because when you take a test, well, what a test measures is your opinions of your own type, whereas when you do qualitative reading, that particular, let's say, obstacle does not exist. That's true to an extent, right? But what they're really saying, what's really going on, and what makes the qualitative work more reliable, far more reliable, especially if it's sustained and takes place for a long time with lots of questioning, and you only get to your answer after all this work and after the insight that comes with this work, is the fact that this is a form of self-work. So when you're doing this, you actually are doing self-work, whether you realize it or not. When you're doing these qualitative readings, you are also training to confront things in your unconscious, fears, desires, fantasies, that you wouldn't have confronted before. So that by the time that you get to, the stage where you say, okay, this is my type, you have actually done the self-work that is required for the lucidity, which is a necessary condition of identifying one's type by oneself. But even so, some people have such stubbornly closed off unconsciouses, that even with these qualitative readings, they still don't get to their true type. And we've all encountered those people online, perhaps even in reality for some of you. That's, again, because you cannot take it for granted that the unconscious won't be getting in the way. And being able to get to grips with the unconscious requires a particular kind of talent and a particular kind of skill set. And we should always keep this in mind. Okay, so let me know your thoughts in the comment, guys. Don't forget to give me a like, because this helps massively with the referencing. What helps massively too is supporting me on Patreon. I could not do this work without you. I need you more than ever. So please consider supporting me. A few bucks a month, a few bucks a year. You have two options. Really, for not a huge amount, you get access to some really cool perks, like access to my library of deep dive videos where you can get into even more depth about all the things I talk about, exclusive for patrons, as well as access to our Discord server. Come join me and the others there, interact with us on a daily basis, called the Furfold, and we're having a lot of fun and cool discussions. Don't forget as well, the link is below to my Patreon. Be so grateful if you did join. Don't forget my 2 books on the INFJ, the Ecstatic Soul, a new look at the INFJ personality, which is the deepest look at the INFJ mind that you'll find online, and its sequel, the Infinite Soul, which is the INFJ mind in the world, finding purpose, meaning, and value in the world as an INFJ. For a deep understanding of this type, you should get those 2 books, or NI in general. Okay, guys, the links are all below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.